Hi gang. So I promised you a little quick tutorial on mala beads so that if you want to, you can just jump straight into our practice on Tuesday and feel a little bit more comfortable about what it's all about and what you're doing. Don't worry if not. I must remember at the end of this, I'll show you a few things about how we can do it on the fingers. So this is how to use it if you do have mala beads. So if you've gone out and you've got yourself some mala beads or you have some at home, then this is how you can use them. So basically, Japa is a style of meditation where it basically means repetition, and this is what we do with mala beads. We are repeating a mantra, and it could be any kind of mantra that we'll discuss. That's a big enough topic in and of its own. But the point of having a mantra when you're meditating is that not everybody has an easy time of just dropping in and staying very tuned in and focused. If you have a busy mind, then having something to focus on specifically, like counting breaths or a mantra, really helps to give you that vehicle to keep you focused, keep you disciplined. And while your mind is focused on one thing, it's less likely to go off and chatter about anything else that's going on. So it can be very, really good, really good to keep focused if you have got a busy mind. So with your just before I say this, also I want to let you know this, regardless of if you're using mala beads or any other way. Another thing to know is that if you think about your mind as one thing and your body as the other, if your mind is really busy anyway, and we're trying to get it still, sometimes it can be useful in the beginning stages of meditation to let your body sway a little bit, like let it move a little bit. Because if you do that, it's almost like if the body is moving, the mind can more easily go still, because something is moving then. And as you practice more with that, eventually you can do away with moving and swaying around in the body, but it has helped you to transition from lots of busyness, dropping to let the body do a little busyness, dropping to let both come into stillness. So I just wanted to put that out there. Right, so your mala beads. Now the mala beads, they can be seeds, rudra seeds, like these crystals. They can be sandalwood. So all different types of mala beads, they all have their different properties. Don't get too worried about that at the moment. Just let yourself go with your instinct. What type of beads are nice for you, draw you to them, and then just go with that for now, because again, that's another whole topic. So I have rudra beads, and I'm very lucky that these got blessed in the Ganges when I was in India, so I feel very close to these. But I also have sandalwood. I have the white sandalwood, which is the masculine version of sandalwood, and the reddy dark one is the female. And I also have crystals. I have tourmaline, so black, which are all very good for protection. So they all mean something different to me. Now, you can't have too many mala beads. If you get into it, you might find yourself wanting to get lots of different sets. Typically, traditionally, you would have a set when you're working with this more deeply that is a personal set that nobody sees. So in India, with that set, people would have them under their top. Nobody would see them. The idea is that you are they're so sacred to you, and that you're imbuing them with your energy, that you don't want anyone else to curse them basically with the evil eye. So that's the reason for people having a set that's just pure, really pure, just them, and no one else gets eyes on them. But obviously we need a set to be working in group. I have mine on all the time in group, and there's nothing wrong with that. The second thing is we don't put the beads on the floor, and we keep them above the floor. That's another thing. You want to keep them sacred. You want to look after them. The other do not is we do not use the Jupiter finger or the index finger. It's considered impure, so we always keep this finger out. The mala beads, the more you work with them, the more they take on your energy, and therefore you can end up actually using them as a pendulum, and they can be very useful once you get working with them. Again, I can teach you more about that later on, but they can end up being used as a pendulum to help you make decisions. Are fantastic for that. So that's something to consider as we go through. So how do we use them? There's 108 beads. It's a sacred number. And there is something called the miru bead or the guru bead. It may be a bead or it may be a tassel like this. It doesn't matter. The point is, whatever it is the thing that determines the starting and the stopping of the 108. What you will always do then is the very first step is to bring them to your heart and have an intention when you're working with them. So you bring focused awareness, energy and presence into your beads. That's your first thing. Second thing is that you start like so, with the beads hanging off the last 3 fingers. You use your thumb as your counter and you keep your index finger out of the way. You start with your thumb on the very first seed or bead, hello Benji, above the miru or the guru or the tassel bead. This is the starting point. And then you use your thumb, you can roll your thumb on that bead and connect with that, thanks Benj, connect with that bead as you chant your first mantra. So typically there'll be, Sanskrit or Gurmukhi are the 2 languages you typically would use. Your mantra could be Om, it could be Om Mani Padme Hum, it could be Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha, it could be Om Namah Shivaya. There are so many different mantras that you can connect with and that will bring different energy and frequency into the mix. So we can talk about that at a later stage. Excuse Benjamin. So what we're going to do is we're going to start rolling and saying, let's just say Om Mani Padme Hum. So we're Om Mani Padme Hum, and then we pull down with the thumbnail to the next bead, Om Mani Padme Hum. Pull down to the next one, Om Mani Padme Hum. So we're going to be going through. You have either your eyes closed, you have them up at your third eye, you have them looking down at your nose. Multiple different things. Your left hand will probably be in Gyan Mudra, just relaxed on your lap. So you're working your way through 108 beads. Now you're saying on every single seed or bead your mantra until you reach the tasseled bead or the bead however yours is. Now the important thing is we do not cross the bead. We never cross the bead. So once you've hit that final bead before the miru bead, this is what we need to do. We hold the thumb and the finger together. We take our fingers out and we slip them in, so you're at the same starting point again with your thumb above the bead that has the miru bead in. So I'll show you that again. Imagine that you're there and you've got all the way up to the final bead. You hold them together, you slip your fingers out, you slip them back in, and you're just one bead above the miru. You fold your fingers out and you come back in. So don't overthink this. When I first learned how to do this, oh my gosh, it took me ages. It really did. It was a silly amount of time. That's what happens with the old ADHD brain. I don't know, some of you might be able to relate. It took me ages to work it out. And then eventually I was like, what was I worrying about? Let me give you a shortcut. The shortcut is this, and it is apply this to everything. Don't worry about the how. Focus on where you want to go. So tell your brain, right brain, what I want you to do is I want you to work your way, whatever, and body, however you need to do it, so that I end up with myself back in on that top bead before the mirror bead. And then when you do that, when you tell your mind that, it somehow just works itself out. So relax and play. Don't let yourself get into a state about it. So that's just briefly how to use them. Keep them nice and sacred and safe. Keep them on, or keep them in a little bag. Now, if you don't have mala beads, but you want to do the practice anyway, obviously, because you're coming along on Tuesday, just use any beads. It's no problem. Because it's just the practice of pulling the mantra, pulling the beads and saying the mantra, pulling the beads. Now you've got the physicalization along with the mantra, and those two things really help us to go into a deeper state. We'll all chant together, and it's fine if you don't want to say it, chant it out loud, absolutely fine. You can just chant it in your mind if you really need to. The other thing is, so if you don't have beads and you forget completely everything that I've just told you, and you come along and you don't have any beads, don't worry, because what you can use is the little segments of your fingers. So you'll start there, then you'll move to the next segment, then you move down there, then you move to the top segment, middle segment, bottom segment, top segment, middle, bottom. So you'll be doing it like this, and that's how you'll count. Do you see? All the way through. So you've got 3 different ways you can meditate on Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to seeing you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you then. Lots and lots of love. Take care. Bye for now.